Yes, there are hundreds of ingredients that are used in cosmetic product development, and it would be silly to know them all. But wanting to develop a cosmetic product and not knowing these 10 most used ingredients, I'm sure you know at least 4 of them. So let's go through these ingredients, their roles, and I will even throw some examples. And lastly, I will break down a typical formulation using these 10 ingredients and their percentage. First, the most known ingredients that is used in, I would say, 70% of cosmetic products, water. It is used as a main solvent, but it also helps to deliver active ingredients. Emollients. Emollients will help you to create a smooth and silky feel. So you can categorize them in the aesthetic modifiers ingredients. But they also help to maintain the skin barrier. And some examples of emollients: plant oils, such as jojoba oil or coconut oil, synthetic oils, or butter, for example, shea butter or cacao butter. Next, the emulsifiers. The emulsifiers help you to create a stable formulation. They also prevent separation between ingredients that struggle to mix together. For example, you have cetearyl alcohol or glyceryl stearate. The next one, I'm sure that you know it, and it is actually really important to make sure that your formula stay clean when the user will store it or use it. The preservative. As you may know, the preservative helps to prevent bacterial growth, microbial growth within your formulation. It ensures product safety, and it is actually a point that is important within the cosmetic regulation compliance. Some example of preservatives, you may find benzyl alcohol or benzoic acid, phenoxyethanol or sodium benzoate. Next, thickeners or stabilizers. Those won't control the viscosity of your formulation. They also have a function of improving stability. A few examples of thickeners would be comboomers of Senglan gums or cellulose derivatives. The next one is the star ingredient of your formulation. Of course, the active ingredients. The active ingredients are the ingredients that provide the benefits to your formulation, and they are usually in small amounts. A few examples of active ingredients, you will have vitamin C or vitamin E, or peptides, or acids such as AHA or BHA. I know you know about those ones. Next ingredients that are always used in cosmetic products, but you may not know much about them, are the pH adjusters. These ingredients will help to maintain a precise pH within your formulation in order to ensure skin compatibility. Indeed, you don't want to put on your skin a product that will be, for example, too acid and might cause more skin issues that you may already have. pH adjusters also ensure the formula stability. And a few examples of pH adjusters that balance the acidity in your product, you will have citric acid, sodium hydroxide, or lactic acid. Next, humectants. They have basically two main roles. They provide hydration and they can improve product texture. Some examples of ingredients that can attract water. As humectants, you can use glycerin or hyaluronic acid that can also be used as an active ingredient. So we may say that some humectants have both a role as functional ingredient and active ingredients. And the last example, the propylene glycol. Next one, a few words about antioxidants. So antioxidants, as you may know, they prevent oxidation. They can fight free radicals. So you can both put them in active ingredients. For example, vitamin C is a great antioxidant, or vitamin E or tocopherol. But you can also put antioxidants into your formulation in order to avoid the oxidation of the formulation itself. So it is both an active ingredient and a functional ingredient. And finally, the last ingredients of the 10th most used ingredients in cosmetic product, you will have the chelating agents. So the chelating agents have different roles. They can boost the preservative efficacy, so they are a functional ingredient. They can support product stability, and their role intrinsically is to bind metal ions. A few examples of chelating agents, you will have EDTA, sodium phytate, or tetrasodium glutamate diacetate. So let's see what would be a typical formulation and at what percentage these 10 ingredients will be used in the formulation. As a disclaimer, any percentage of ingredients that I will share are for general guidelines. Actual percentage, of course, vary depending on the product to be developed. So these ranges are not fixed rules. They are more like a starting point of formulation and of course subject to optimization. Always verify the percentage with raw material suppliers and formulation experts. So I did my little research, and what I have found is like in a typical formulation, so I will not say it's a specific cream or a specific serum, but you can have between 0 to 80% of water. Why this wide range? Because in this range you have cosmetic products that are oil-based serum that have no water, up to lotions that are like water in a bottle with a few benefits. Regarding oil and emollients, you may have between 5 to 30%. This wide range also allows for different texture of product. Closer to 5% you will have a light cream, while 30% of emollient create a rich, dense, nourishing cream, and going higher will probably make the product too greasy. Then for emulsifiers, the ingredient is usually between 2 and 7% of your formula. Apparently, this percentage range is crucial because under 2%, well, the emulsifier will not play its role, so it will not be able to mix two ingredients that usually do not go together. And above 7%, it may cause skin irritation, you don't want that, and cause unnecessary thickness of the product. Regarding the humectant, it's usually between 3 and 10%. Apparently below 3%, the product will not provide a proper hydration, while above 10%, it could cause the product to be too sticky and potentially draw moisture from deeper skin layers. One that is really important, as I mentioned earlier, the preservative. They are usually between 0.5% to 1.5%. This specific range is based on regulation limits and efficacy testing. Below 0.5%, you may have a higher risk of product contamination, and above 1.5%, it could increase skin irritation without adding any additional benefits. Antioxidants. Between 0.1% to 1%. As I mentioned, it can be used as an active ingredient that are usually in really small amount in the formulation. So I guess that below 0.1%, you will not see any benefits, and above 1% as an antioxidant, it may cause formulation instability. Chelating agent, again, in a really small percentage, between 0.05% up to 2%. Because as I said, the chelating agent's role is to bind troublesome metal ions. So adding more would be wasteful and have an impact on the product aesthetic. 3 last ones. The thickeners. It really depends on the texture that you want for your product. And apparently below 0.1%, the ingredient will not play its role of thickening the product. And above 2%, it could create an unpleasant gummy texture. Unless you want to develop a gummy, but it's another topic for another day. For pH adjuster, the range is between 0.01% up to 1% only, because as you may know, the pH of a formula is something that is really sensitive parameter. 1/4 of a drop more of what you want may completely modify the pH of your formulation, and thus its stability. The last but not least, the active ingredients. The active ingredients, it really depends of the actual ingredients. It may be between 0.1% up to 10%. This wide range really reflects the different product types. For example, serums are known to have a higher percentage of active ingredients than creams. And for example, for creams, the different percentage of all these ingredients really depends on a lot of parameters of the type of cream, if it's a light cream, a rich cream, a moisturizing cream, or a treatment cream. The target properties of the formula, for example, the texture, the viscosity, the absorption rate, or the skin feel that you are looking for, and also the usage condition, how many times you will use your product per day, when you will use it, the climate condition. You will not use the same cream in an environment that is high in humidity than in an environment which is really dry, the application method also, and the packaging type. If you want to know more about the list of ingredients that are allowed, that are banned, or that are allowed under specific conditions by the European Cosmetic Regulation, you can watch this video.